Yeah.
Colorado, we're just basically going to be talking about a 2-10 team or worse.
Ed Werder, I'm friends with Sap.
Here we go. You wasn't there.
I talked to Ed Werder.
Ed Werder cannot
I heard
say that
Ed Werder's voice
God.
say, believe in what? That was Ed who said, believe in what? I know Ed Werder's voice.
Oh, no.
It appears.
No.
Again, this is like me arguing with you about Derek Brooks.
Hey, you wasn't there. I got the video from the boys that's in there. I know exactly who he's talking to. I can show you the reporter with his tweet because I even tweeted him. Come on, stop it.
After a while, I just let him sag me.
I do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just
what did Ed Werder write?
He didn't write anything.
Exactly.
And that's why.
He ain't talking to him. He said, I read that mess that you wrote. Do you believe? And the guy said, believe in what? That wasn't Ed Werder.
I believe they're going to win more than 2 games.
Absolutely. They'll be 2-0 after this week.
I think
and a great player. This dude is. Again, I don't think any of you guys could be great coaches. You're too great at players. But
I could.
No, you know what you got to be.
You could be a great.
I could.
You know what you got to be.
But now, later in
life, because we've learned.
And I'm not as
hot-headed and fly off the handle as we were.
Sometimes it's best to just pause, think about it rather than talking or yelling or screaming. I think there's a call for that if needed. But getting back to Deion, I think Deion's at a place in his life where he's ready to accept that role.
Absolutely.
He's a marketing machine. There's no question about it. You can't fault him for that. From day one, back in the day, maybe he when he was drafted and he was playing baseball and football, he was feeling it, and it was all because of him. Now he gives the glory to God
and himself.
Well, I mean, I think he deserves some.
I don't. Not as a Christian. I can.
Well, we can argue this. At what level of Christian?
I've accomplished again, and he's not at a very high level. In the sports writing deal, I've accomplished a lot. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing. Anything you accomplish on football, you may not know it, but one day you'll find out it didn't have nothing to do with you. You. This is for believers. If you're a believer, and it's just factual. And so I don't think Deion doesn't realize that, and I just think at our age,
nothing to do with this is already written. You just got to live it.
No, it's not written, but dude, I'm so flawed and so messed up and so.
Oh no, I'm born in the sin. I got that part.
I'm so unworthy.
I only need faith as big as a mustard seed. I'm fine. You talk about a belief? No, come on. I was raised in the church. You beat me to Sunday school and you meet me at church.
Here's what happens though. Here's what happens with great athletes. It is literally though. I mean, you have so much success, you get so much adulation, you get so that it clouds things, and you do start believing. You make your own self an idol. You make your own, and it's called idolatry. You make your own self an idol. I've been through it to a lesser level. To a far lesser level, but again, had a lot of success.
Y'all almost won.
So no, I'm talking about as a journalist. As a journalist,
I'm just checking.
I'm a Hall of Fame journalist, sports journalist. I'm a Hall of Fame sports journalist.
They got one of those?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And I've been through that mental deal where I thought I would. Man, I'm it. Look, mom, daddy, everybody counting on me. Blah blah blah.
Have there been?
It ain't me.
Have there been coaches in the NFL that you think that have been non-players that are guilty of that same thing that has success?
Guilty of the coaches are arrogant. Yes, all of them. Even Bill Belichick's arrogant.
Absolutely.
He's had a ton of success.
That's the only way you're gonna be successful, though.
I know,
but the way you pick a rugby player in the third round and play like it's something that's good for the team.
The smart ones are at war with their arrogance. Deion is leaning into his arrogance and confidence. He thinks it's what makes him successful. That's a mistake.
I think you need to visit him. You ain't seen him in a while, have you?
Well, no, I haven't. And
you
so
need to go visit him.
And so all I can do is I look at his post-game press conference. He came into his post-game press conference,
with receipts.
Sat down, screaming receipts, then sat down and started talking about his kid, Shador. and then and then himself, and then finally, and then he started picking on Ed Werder and other people in the media and all this other stuff. And finally, he got around to by Monday when he started going on Skip Bayless's show and Pat McAfee. He finally got around by Monday, started talking about the kids, everybody else. And Deion is well intentioned. But what happens and you guys know it because y'all have had a lot of success. You've been star athletes in junior high, high school, college, pros. And when you're paying all the bills, people don't question much of what you do. And it can create an arrogance that you need to be humbled from. And so there's, and because I've been through it, I've needed to be humbled greatly and very.
You're a bad child too, so it might,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It might all be in one big cylinder here. You just spinning around.
Needed to be, and that's all I'm saying. For long-term sustainable success, that arrogance is going to bite Deion in the rear end. In my opinion, I'm rooting for him. I hope that he finds this humility. I hope he hears me if he happens to hear this in context. I would love for Deion. You know who who I had a very negative opinion of for years. Michael Irvin. And then I sat down with Mike and I'm like, oh my God.
That dude's passionate
about
everything.
Yes. And he's authentic. And I get all the flaws because every mistake that Michael Irvin ever made in his life, I'm very capable of having made that mistake. Every last one.
We all
and so
you believe that? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe that? Huh? Oh no. I read through that bull junk you wrote down. I read through that. I sifted through all that. Yeah. Oh no. Come on. Do you believe? You don't believe. You just answered it. You don't believe. Next question. Passionate, purposeful. It's all of that. We had some guys that singled themselves out with their playing and their playing ability. A lot of guys you doubted. One of them from HBCU. I think he had 510 yards passing in a Power 5 football game. And he happened to be my son. And I'm proud of him tremendously. Defensively, we had some letdowns, but the guys came and made the plays when they needed. I think we broke a record. Everything we do seems like a record. 4 receivers with 100 yards. We didn't run the ball greatly, but we threw the heck out of the football. Savion, another back, played a great game. All the guys contributed, Dylan as well as Hankerson. The line did their thing, fought their butts off. We got to fix some things on defense, especially special teams, because I think we gave up 3 or 4 turnovers. We gave up the kickoff. We had a fumble. A couple other things happened in the first half. But hats off to the opposing team. They're coached greatly. I believe their head coach, I love him to life, what he did, turning the program around at SMU as well as here last year. Good man. I had a moment with him in the middle of the field when one of the guys were injured, just to let him know how much I appreciate him, how much I respect him for what he's accomplished. And I really look up to him. He's a good man, and his team is well coached today.
whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. We are live. We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays here on channel gboot2786. Gavin Richard on YouTube as well as Facebook and on Periscope. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe, ladies and gentlemen. It is prime time. That is right, Ceci. It's prime time. It's football Sunday. It's Coach Prime Time, Deion Sanders. I don't have the voice quite down for Deion. Shannon Sharp, yes. If I did a video with Shannon, if I did a video with Deion Sanders and Uncle Shay say, everything would be live and fit. I got Deion Sanders mannerisms, but I got to get the voice because it's a little more raspy. But I got the, God bless you now, I got the mannerisms down. You don't believe. I got to work on the voice. But we talking about, it's prime time Sunday. Thank you, Ceci. It's prime time. Because it is football Sunday. You know, the NFL has come back. I know some of you may or may not be watching the NFL, but if you are, okay, cool. I know that some of us kind of give up on them boycotts after a year or two when they ain't going through it. Like, oh, shit, they ain't going to do nothing. Kaepernick's still out. He ain't going to get nothing. So I'm people still looking at that. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, we are live today. I'm happy to be here with y'all discussing this random topic Sundays. Tonight, this evening, we're talking about professional haters. I want to give first and foremost a special shout out. What's going on, Computer Robots? What's going on, Danielle Meyer? First off, I have been on this channel. I've been doing my YouTube, my live streams, not as periodically often as I should, but I want to give another happy birthday, ladies and gentlemen, for our brother Sean James. His birthday was yesterday. So I want everybody as a birthday gift to support Sean by buying one of his books, for instance, like The Woman Crisis, that's available on Amazon, on Kindle, and other paperback formats. I want y'all to support him there. The brother comes on. He works very hard. We got to get him a vacation. He's doing too much stuff. He's trying his best. So y'all go ahead and support him by going to Amazon and buying books like The Woman Crisis and The Man Crisis. And speaking of, when you go to Amazon, here's a 2 for 2. Why don't you get The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby? I want to know by show of hands in the chat, how many of you have gotten a book on Amazon Kindle? Now, some of you I know like the paperback versions, but it's easy to get them on phone. But I've always said I work on them, and I was going to work on doing it. It's just taking me up a lot of time with some things that I've just been dealing with. I'm trying not to make excuses because it's ultimately me, but I have not had a chance to. I'm being real, just with work and family stuff that has tied me up from doing that. But I need to get to a point in life. I think all of us, when we want to accomplish our goals and finish stuff, where not only we can't make excuses, but we're gonna have to sacrifice maybe something in order to do that, and that's what we all do to try and achieve our goals. So I will definitely want to have this paperback version for you, but I want you to get it on Kindle if you can. It's easier actually to buy the book on Kindle and much more simpler because you can watch it from your phone. So go ahead and do that. But there will be a paperback version of it. I'm working on that. I will be working on that definitely for sure this week. I have to do some dimensions on the book and so forth, and that's one of the things that's happened and held it up. But some other stuff we're doing.
What do you mean nothing? I told you guys.
Sorry, my phone came on. So we're doing that, y'all, and I'm just chilling with y'all. I actually didn't want to show my face today because don't have much. I'm actually not at home right now while I'm doing this live stream. I'm at the lady's house, so I figure I'd just talk to y'all right here while I'm chilling. And we're talking about, of course, I'm worth my time. Now, you know, this channel is not monetized, so if you want to help me grow as an artist, as a podcaster, on this channel, since it's not monetized, drop something in the Cash App. You see my tag right there. That's $ GavinRichardEsq, ladies and gentlemen. Please do so. We are going to be talking about today. So you saw the video earlier that I just played. That was courtesy of Jason Whitlock on the Blaze, where he has, and I'm going to put this article up too as well. Jason Shitlock, as I've called him in the past. We all know, some of you may know who he is. Whitlock calls himself a sports writer. He is a sports writer. He was a former offensive lineman from Indianapolis, by the way, Indianapolis, Indiana, who hosts this program, a conservative media program on the Blaze Media. But he has been a columnist for AOL Sports, Kansas City Star. He's also been on ESPN and Fox Sports. He was also on Fox Sports, if you remember, on that show Speak Frankly, that used to come on after the herd. Him and that Emmanuel Ocho guy, all those, but I don't know what it's a damn coon fest over there that they have, where they have these black men just talking down on other black men. That's what they do at these sports shows. Now, I've watched them because I'm into sports and so forth, but it's hard when you watch these programs and watch how and listen to how men who are like Jason Whitlock is in his 50s. And this man has always made, in my opinion, an excuse for white supremacist behavior. He's always talked greasy about black men. He went in on LeBron James after LeBron James' home was vandalized by in a hate crime, making fun of that. He's gone at Serena and Venus. He's talked about Colin Kaepernick. He's been called out by people like Corey Holcomb. I remember when Leonard from the Breakfast Club went at him. So he's always talked greasy about black people, pun intended, because he's been messing with that fried chicken. But he played for Ball State as an offensive lineman and didn't cut it in the pros, couldn't do it in the pros, and became a full-time journalist. And he has used his platform basically as of late to talk about the hottest person in sports right now, which would be your Deion Sanders. Now, Speak for Yourself was the show. And he also hosts a show at the Blaze called Fearless. Now, we know what the Blaze is about. The Blaze is a conservative media company. I think that was started by, was that Glenn Beck was associated with that? Yeah. He created the Blaze website. So that's where that comes. That's where that comes from. So they're a staunchly conservative network. So it doesn't surprise me that Whitlock is on here, but he's talking about Deion Sanders. Now, this is the article that I want to share with you. This is courtesy of Sportskeeda, where he called Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, as he's known as a cosplay coach. Now, recently, as y'all know, Deion Sanders has come into college football, first going to a historically black college university, JSU, Jackson State University, back in 2020. And he turned around that program at Jackson State in a heartbeat, deals with PepsiCo, with Pepsi. Jackson State, I believe, is getting a new football stadium. buying new uniforms, having celebrities come to the trials to watch Coach Prime, people giving speeches to the kids there. That's not also he actually turned that school back into a winning organization. I mean, Jackson State for a few years, they had been on the total bowl at the bottom of the SWAC, and he brought them, especially the last year that he coached Jackson State. He was there for 3 seasons. He brought them to the black. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. Can y'all hear me now? I don't know what's going on. My computer is acting up, and I'm gonna have to actually get a new computer eventually. I'm doing this from my laptop, and I'm gonna have to get a new one. But long story short, what I was saying about Whitlock, yeah, Ruben Studdard he could be a Ruben Studdard impersonator. That would be an insult to Ruben Studdard. Now, Cece, come on. But Jason Whitlock, I think, when it comes to Deion Sanders, and I was explaining Deion Sanders' impact on JSU. The most important thing he has done that I noticed was that he actually brought JSU into the spotlight of national television programming. The historically black college and universities, there was a time, especially I want to say in the 90s up until the early 2000s, when HBCU football games were on ESPN. You had them on national television like NBC, ABC, the Bayou Classics, of course. And there had been a gap, I want to say, in the last between 10 to 15 years where you hadn't seen some of these HBCUs on national TV. And the last black national championship that Deion Sanders was in, he was actually a part of that. And that was a nationally televised game. That was on ABC. So that was his final game. They tried to brother man Deion while he was there at Jackson State. He ended up going to a Division I program with Colorado, and in just these 2 years, I'm sorry, I said 2 years. So in just 4 years that he has been a coach, and now recently as the football coach of the University of Colorado Boulder, where he brought his kids into. His son, Shadur Sanders, is the quarterback of the team and actually has been phenomenal. He's already thrown for over 908 yards, if I'm not mistaken, in just 2 games. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 games. That's the Celebration Bowl, by the way, that Deion Sanders was in. In just 2 games, he's already got that team. Colorado was a losing team as of last year. They only won 1 game. He has turned the program around. Their national ranking right now in the football season, I believe they came in as of yesterday when they played Nebraska. They were ranked 25. So he's brought them into the top 25, something that they hadn't had in years. That's what Deion Sanders has done. And he's put his kids on his back in doing that. His son Shadur played with him in Jackson State and then transferred. And so Deion has gotten a lot of hate. What you saw in that interview that video that I posted with brother Prime, Coach Prime, when he was going back and forth with that ESPN reporter, and Jason Whitlock was doing that. How dare he go at Ed Werner and calling this man a cosplay coach? Now, it's clear and evident that Jason Whitlock has a problem with people who can climb a set of stairs without breathing heavily. Jason Whitlock is what I like to call, ladies and gentlemen, a professional hater. His track record, ladies, let me put my music on. Let's put the music on. His track record, ladies and gentlemen, speaks for itself. If we look here, Jason Whitlock, let's go to what he said about Serena Williams. He called Serena Williams a slacker. He says she's not a GOAT on the Mount Rushmore when she retired from tennis back in 2022. He said, the reason why she's not only being in this conversation is only because she lives in this protected, privileged space of being a woman and a Black woman in this era of America. If you actually go back and look at the accomplishments, she ain't in the conversation for the GOAT. He's Serena at the genetics lottery. Not trying to denigrate her, just speaking factually. She looks like Earl Campbell out there. She's got a genetic talent advantage over everybody she played, including her sister. That talent allowed her to mail it in a lot of times and still win. I don't dislike Serena Williams. I'm just one of the few people who speak factually on Serena. Everyone else is scared and doesn't want to be called sexist or racist. She ascended into that special place of American society where she can crip walk at Wimbledon, and if anybody says anything negative, they're racist. No, Jason, you are just a hater. This is what he said on Fox Sports Radio about Serena Williams, and I was reading a direct quote from that. Now, he says he doesn't hate Serena Williams, but doesn't it sound like he's being a hater? That he says he doesn't dislike her, but it sounds clearly like she's a hater. Now, list all of these victories over that Serena Williams doesn't have compared to others. But here's the thing, Serena Williams is only second. Serena Williams was only second in terms of championships. When people look at wins and losses, they don't care about that. They really want to know how many championship wins you have. Nobody cares what Joe Montana did in the regular season. Everybody remembers what Joe Montana did in the Super Bowls. Did you go to a Super Bowl? Dan Marino won a lot of games. Dan Marino's never won a Super Bowl. She has won 23 Grand Slam women's singles titles, the most in the Open era and second all time. She is the only player to accomplish a career Golden Slam in both singles and doubles. She's only behind Margaret Court in terms of Grand Slam singles. Nobody cares about how many actual wins she's had. How many quarterbacks go to a have won regular season games? Look at Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning has been in a has led the Indianapolis Colts, I believe, to starting in 2001. After 2001, from 2002 to 2011, that season when he got hurt, he didn't play. Every time he played, the Colts were in the conversation. How many times they lost in the playoff game? He was terrible when he played in the playoffs. He only brought one Super Bowl to that team. So Serena has all of these records she's accomplished. Look at the wins. Grand Slam singles. She's second. So nobody pays attention to things. But you like to find a negative about someone. You say you don't dislike them, but you try to highlight something negative and discredit everything that person has accomplished, or to minimize it as if it's nothing. Then let's look at the stuff that you said about LeBron James. When LeBron James' home was vandalized, you made the remark, and I'll quote right here. You said he's too rich for real racism, and saying stop embracing your victimhood. When LeBron said it goes to show that racism will always be a part of the world, a part of America, he said hating America, especially for African Americans, is living every day. Then Jason Whitlock on Colin Cowherd's show, this was in June of 2017. I want y'all to look at this. Whitlock said this. He said, this is where I struggle with LeBron James. He has fallen into the far left trap of there's value in embracing your victimhood. James mentioned Emmett Till, an African American brutally murdered in 1955, and loosely analogized to his situation. Whitlock didn't like that, calling it preposterous. He allegedly had the N-word spray painted on his $20 million Brentwood home. He wasn't there, his family wasn't there, he heard about it. He's on stage saying, my family's safe. From what? Spray paint, they're in Cleveland. Whitlock went on to make a point more broad and somewhat jarring. If you're wealthy, racism is essentially a non-issue. Racism is an issue in America, he said, but it's primarily an issue for the poor. It's not for LeBron James. It's not a LeBron James issue. LeBron James, whether he likes it or not, or whether people close to him or tell him or not, he's removed himself from the damages and the ravages of real racism. LeBron needs to stop embracing his victimhood. Whitlock said, it's a terrible message for Black people. So basically, what Whitlock is saying is if you have money, you remove yourself from racism. This is a bum. Oh, indeed. This is lower than a bum. This is a scumbag. Somebody removes themselves from racism because they have money. You know, there was an attorney who just passed away recently. I can't even remember his name, but he wrote several books. His name is on the tip of my tongue. He was a member of wealthy guy, by the way. He was with Fortune 500. It's not Charles Ogletree. But Dr. Umar Johnson, and I'm not that I'm a fan of Umar, did a debate with with the guy who was a black elite. And Lawrence Otis Graham, that's him. That's the attorney. Lawrence Otis Graham. Lawrence Otis Graham wrote, I'll never forget, he was, I believe, wrote a book on, he was a best-selling author, and he used to write books about the black elite and so forth. And he and Umar Johnson had a debate, especially about the boule and so forth. And it's my understanding when he was married, or he actually went on, I believe it was 2020, somewhere on ABC News, where they talked about dressing their kids up, in suits and ties, having them well educated so that they could avoid being racially profiled. And trying to shield them from that. And it didn't work. Yeah, here it was. He had a strict dress code. I think this was it. This was it here. Let me just play this right quick. Now, this is how you discredit foods like this. Is how a lot of foods. Oh, I gotta do a couple of. This is what a lot of foods think will protect them from being pulled over by police and racial discrimination. And I want y'all to listen to this. I want you to listen carefully. This is Lawrence Otis Graham. He died back in 2021. So all the Kurt Wrights, and of course, go to ABC News. But y'all listen very carefully to this story. This is Lawrence Otis Graham did this, and they thought this was going to protect their children from racial profiling. Now, watch this. Fair use. Okay, let's play it.
And perception.
Let's talk about the uniform. I didn't know until Trayvon Martin got shot that the hoodie was something that black children, shouldn't wear. And I remember when my son was about 9, I felt that he needed a uniform so that he didn't appear to be threatening. So he always has khakis on, a polo shirt. So you spoke to ABC a few years ago about this uniform that we both have our children wearing.
It's no hoodies, it's no dark clothes. My boys know that they've got to be khaki pants. We don't do sweatshirts with words and names on them. This is really casual for them. They don't do the t-shirt thing.
Has the uniform changed?
The uniform has actually become a little more conservative. There's no sunglasses, hoodless sweatshirts.
I haven't done the no sunglasses yet. But
we've got it nailed down. I mean, it's topsider shoes, the boat shoes. Now, all of this seems outrageous and ridiculous, but this is the cultural shorthand that strangers need to be able to see to say, okay, this kid's okay, this kid is safe. We have a whole list of rules that my kids first resisted, but now very much understand.
Parents of all races should probably have this discussion with their children, how to survive a police encounter. But the bottom line is the stats don't lie, right? I mean, if you look at the stats, Black children, young African-American men, are more likely to be killed by police officers than their white counterparts.
I would love to have raised my children telling them it's a colorblind society, but that's a fairy tale, because ultimately they are going to get profiled, and it's out of their control.
Now, what about this notion that, when you have the conversation with your children about race and policing, that you are having a biased conversation and you're racist and you're part of the problem for making your children distrust police?
Right. In our family, our view is, and I'm saying this as someone who's chair of the county police in my local police, and I know how hard they work and I know how dangerous their job is.
And most of them are wearing that uniform because they want to help people
Absolutely.
and because they're just good cops.
And they are not looking at race, they're not looking at gender, not looking at ethnicity. But for those rogue cops that are, I say better not to have any interaction with them than to have even a neutral interaction.
Socioeconomics don't seem to matter when it comes to race and policing. It's more about bias.
Exactly. You cannot buy your way out of in any way. And although I know that I have this armor for my kids to these different clothing, but you really can't buy your way out of the possibility of being mistaken as a criminal when you're a child or a young person of color.
It's an eye-opening discussion, and I want to bring back in my anchor, Byron Pitts, because you and I were talking about this earlier. It's a very real thing. You've got 6 kids.
Yeah.
Your baby's 23. Yeah. But you've had this talk multiple times through the years.
It's the conversation my mama and uncles had with me. It's the conversations I've had with my children. And it's real. It is about surviving the situation. But I also tell my children what Congressman John Lewis from Georgia told me. America isn't what it should be, but isn't what it used to be. That we've come far as a nation. And I also think about what Maya Angelou in her poem, Still I Rise. And I tell my kids, you are the hope and the dream. Be positive, but you got to be alive.
And a lot of these kids want to be future police officers. We can't forget that too. And I was just talking with friends of mine this week who said they've talked to their own kids about when you encounter the police, err on the side of caution, give in to the arrest, deal with it later. But don't try to ratchet up this situation, which is a very hard thing to do, especially if you're young and you're prone to anxiety and hormones. Those situations are so unpredictable.
I had a conversation just a few nights ago with my 23-year-old daughter, who a college-educated young woman, rainbow of friends, weeping, burdened by this.
You saw that article, that video, and Whitlock understands it. Lawrence Otis Graham didn't understand it. He thinks that by dressing a certain way, you can disarm white supremacy. You can disarm racism. You can't. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, and I know everybody's experience is different. I've never, to my knowledge, and I'm just saying me, where I've worked at, because I work in the court systems per se, I've gotten along with people who don't look like me. I've gotten along with whites. But other places I've traveled, I have been in situations where, let's just say these places where I were not civilized. And I'll leave it like that. But Whitlock understands this. And so he attacks somebody. He likes to attack people who can, obviously, who are very successful. Black people are doing things for themselves. He tries to find a way to demean and dishonor them, just like Stephen A. Smith does. ESPN will never get, just like Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews, they'll never get rid of Malika Andrews because Malika Andrews promotes the negative. She does what the white producers and promoters, the producers, I should say, of ESPN can't do because they'll be called racist. So they will get a black person to talk down on another black person, or someone that claims to be a black person to talk down on a real black man, like she did with that Alabama player mentioning his criminal record, which he didn't have. But his role, he gets drafted and she mentions his questioning in a murder. Him being questioned by the police was sufficient for ESPN to bring up. And Stephen A. Smith even said she had to do it. No, she didn't have to do that. Y'all didn't have to do that. Y'all didn't mention Johnny Manziel's gambling problems. Y'all didn't mention his run-ins with the lunch shit. They don't ever mention that. And Coach Prime, his son, and getting back to Coach Prime and the great things he's doing. I mean, he's revitalized, like I said, that program, but he's had coaches come at him because he messed with the draft portal, for them to come to his program. He's recruited all of these players. He has built something and is getting hated on for it. Even the coach from Nebraska said something negative about him, and Shadur, Deion's son, clapped. He clapped back at the Nebraska coach. Because the coach actually said some stuff about Deion, but also he was on the field. They were playing in Colorado. He was on the field in midfield and did something disrespectful that Shadur pointed out to the press. Watch this.
You guys, this was your first experience playing in this Nebraska-Colorado rivalry. I know your coach had told you all week it was personal. Were you guys able to really buy into this rivalry? What did it feel like out there?
It was extremely personal. We go out there, warm up. You got the head coach for the other team trying to stand in the middle of the buff. Like, it's okay if like a couple players do it. It's fine, you know. Like, just enjoy the scenery. But when you got the whole team trying to disrespect it, then I'm not going for that at all. So I went in there and disrupted it. So they knew off rip, like, nah, the Buffaloes mean a lot to me. And personally, that's what I was saying pregame. And that's when I knew it was just extreme disrespect. And that's why it was the coach said a lot of things about my pops, about the program, but now that he want to act nice, I don't respect that, because you hating on another man, you shouldn't do that. So it was just all respect was gone for them in their program. Now I like playing against their DC, I like playing against them, but the respect level it ain't there because you disrespected us first.
So I'll just share with you what I'm hearing from my friends in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham who have been around a long time, who watch this, and some are saying this reminds me. I'm quoting them now of 41 years ago. And Matt, I hate going back 41 years.
Oh, so they're talking about Deion Sanders being the number one candidate for Alabama potentially. So, yeah, so it was personal to him. And that coach has said stuff that other guy who's on ESPN Game Day on Saturday, I think Les Caruso was saying stuff about Deion, went at him. I mean, they have been attacked left and right. And Deion is saying, hey, I don't hate the player, I hate the game. And keeping Lee Corso, excuse me. Yeah, he took a dig at Deion Sanders. Because of what he did, like bringing people to the roster. So let's do this. We're still talking about professional haters. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let me stop for a minute. I need you to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure also you've hit that notification bell. So when I go live, you'll know that I am live, ladies and gentlemen. It's on me. And make sure, please, also to donate to that CashApp, PayPal, or Zelle. If you believe I'm worth my time, then pay me for my time, ladies and gentlemen. It's all hate. So these are all professional haters. And one professional hater, I want to talk about the professional hate we're seeing and attacks on Black people before we wrap this up. I saw this on Twitter. There was a Twitter post by our friend, Sister Nicole from Nicole's View. Shout out to her. Nicole did a video. She put this up. I saw it. She didn't tag me, but I noticed this and had to comment. Now, how many of you know that the VMAs, MTV Music Video Awards, which I'm surprised they still do these things because, like I said, where are the music videos? They have the awards, and it is also Pepsi's anniversary. So Pepsi put out a post basically commemorating the 125 years. And I saw this post. I had to comment because they're talking about when you turn 125, you can celebrate for as long as you want. So they're talking about all the ads that they've had with the rock and roll stars that have graced Pepsi for years, music icons. This is from the 80s. And I commented on this because if you look at this picture, I'm posting it for you right now. So you notice something very glaring about this picture. They have all of these rock and roll stars. They got Robert Palmer. I didn't even know who the hell he was, but the song Simply Irresistible, he did that for Pepsi. The Joy of Cola, I remember Britney Spears doing this in 2001. I remember that because that was my era as a kid. I definitely remember Ray Charles doing the Right One Baby for Diet Pepsi. You have Tina Turner doing one for A Taste of Pepsi in 1986. And you got Madonna doing Like a Prayer. And people in the comments let them have it, including yours truly. So music icons. Tina Turner, I could see being an icon. Ray Charles, definitely. Madonna, I would put up there. Britney Spears, maybe by edge, but who the pluck is Robert Palmer? One hit wonder. So guess who is not, if you haven't figured it out, in this photograph, in this flyer to celebrate the VMAs? I'm doing fine. Thank you, computer robots, but I'm hot right now. Yeah, Hammer did do a Pepsi commercial. That's correct. He did. Hell, Aretha Franklin did one. Britney's batshit crazy. So who is not in this? The main one. The one who started it all, because remember back in the 80s, Michael Jackson burnt his scalp. This is what Michael Jackson's official Twitter account actually said. They said Michael literally burnt his scalp for your ass. No, I'm sorry. This is not his account. I thought it was because he had his picture. Excuse me. It says Michael Jackson Estate. It says Michael literally burnt his scalp for your ass, and even after bearing that pain, continued to promote your brand for a decade. But no reruns for the King of Pop, despite how iconic and recognizable the commercial is. I wish I could play some of the commercial, but I can't because I'm going to get a copyright strike. But they're doing this for the MTV Video Music Awards, and that in and of itself is insulting because the MTV Music Video Awards, first and foremost, they have something called the Vanguard Award, but it was actually the Michael Jackson Vanguard Award. It became that after Mike died because Michael was the one who told MTV how to make a music video. Michael was the one when they didn't put blacks on MTV. It was segregated. They wouldn't allow black artists. And Mike changed the game. The head of CBS Records, Epic Records, Walter Yetnikoff, threatened to pull the entire publishing. They threatened to pull Epic's entire catalog from MTV, from Streisand to Olivia Newton-John and other singers. They would not allow them, if they did not allow Billie Jean to be played in rotation on MTV, they would not have the rest of their artists on MTV. And they relented. MTV had to relent. And after Billie Jean, that was it. And let's not forget, MTV was a fledgling network. Now, I wasn't even around when MTV got started. I was born in 86. So MTV was already, I guess, in its youth at its peak when it got hot in the mid 80s, right around the time I was born. Michael Jackson was a part of that, from Billie Jean to Bad to Beat It. I said Bad, but Bad came later. But Thriller, let's not forget. So once Billie Jean came in, then it was Beat It. And then after Beat It, Thriller, the greatest music video of all time. The only music video that is in the Library of Congress that was nominated for an Oscar. It was a short movie. Yeah, he had multiple commercials. And they disrespect the GOAT. Michael is the GOAT of entertainment. And I understand, though, I'm be real, as an attorney, I get why they did it, because there is litigation going on with Mike. And so as a corporation, you know, they try to avoid controversy so it doesn't hurt their sales. So I understand that. I do understand the business side of it. But here is a man that sold your products. This is a man that told you as MTV how to make a music video. Yeah, I remember the Spice Girls did Generation Next. I mean, everybody, and people are pointing this out. Mariah Carey had a Pepsi campaign. Michael Jackson didn't even drink Coca-Cola, to be quite honest. He didn't drink Pepsi because I guess it would affect his health. He was very adamant about what he put in his body. Now, the reason why he did the Pepsi commercials, people may or may not know this, but he did that at the request of his mother so that they could get money for the rest of the band, for the Jackson 5, his brothers, when they got older. So Pepsi reached out to them, and they wouldn't do the commercials, I think, unless Michael was a part of it. So Michael Jackson agreed to do so, and Michael burned his scalp. He burned his scalp doing that commercial. Yeah, I just trying to do my Michael Jackson impression. Yeah, I'm fine. I did this all for the children of the world who believe in me. Because if you don't, and you say anything negative, that's just pure ignorance. That's crazy. It's insane. That's my that's my Michael Jackson impression. But yeah, the Pepsi New Generation. I mean, Alfonso Ribeiro got his start. The guy who played Carl, yeah, he got his start. But they don't have this. Look, this Pepsi is for every generation. So they got Michael on the can. So Ray is there, Brittany is there, but no Mike. I can't play the commercial, but yeah, I mean, and Pepsi was struggling in sales. They changed that. They brought in the Rock and Roller Cola War started because of with Michael Jackson. The most popular commercial for Pepsi on Watch Mojo is Michael Jackson's New Generation, because he reworked the Billie Jean song to fit that. And Michael, when he was burned, yeah, he donated the money to the Brotman Medical Center where he was treated. But yeah, man, we live in a generation of haters, and I think social media has done more harm than good when it comes to that, because everybody has their opinion. And now everybody, of course, can comment on black celebrities. Like I was telling my lady today when I was talking to Tanisha, I said every black entertainer has to have an asterisk by their name. Eddie Griffin talked about it. You got to have an asterisk by your name. You got to do something. You got to do something bad. We got to highlight it. We're going to punish you more than the white boy. That white, by the way, speaking of which, since they're talking about child abuse and rape and sexual assault allegations, the guy from last week, we talked about it on Thursday, but the guy from that 70s show, Danny Masterson, got sentenced to 30 years in prison. Do y'all know that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher sent a letter to the court, to the judge, asking for leniency for him? And they're getting a lot of flack. They are getting a lot of flack for it. Did y'all hear about that? Mila Kunis, yeah, and Ashton Kutcher sent the letter, and people are, and they apologize, and now they apologize for the letters in support. Now they're both married, and they said we appreciate, we understand and support victims. We say we support victims and address the pain that the letters show. So they got in their ass about it, and they did a video on it. But they sent it to the judge because they wanted to do it as a sense of leniency. Yeah, Ashton was on a blocking spree.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
So yeah, they went on the block gate. Yeah, they had to do a 180 on that shit. No, they were standing up for their boy. See, I don't like this thing too, guys, when you say something, you know you did it, you meant it, and you go on a recant, an apology tour. If this is what you said and what you really feel, do it. Stand on it. You sent character letters out, and again, it's a business thing because they got their brand they're trying to protect. This was business. hold on, excuse me. This was business. It's PR. Yeah. So I think they were made to do that. But these professional haters like Whitlock, people up at Pepsi, all the stuff that are attacking Black people, Black men, that is why it's very important we have our own platforms. We have our own shows. We have our own agendas that we can go ahead and discuss not only what's going on, but also from our perspective and point of view, because whoever controls the medium controls the narrative. That's the actual truth and how this thing goes. Is it surprising that Meg Griffin is defending a degenerate? Well, you know something? I've heard some appealable issues like I talked about on Thursday. I haven't seen too much of the case. But the judge said he may be guilty allegedly back at the first trial. So who knows? This thing with Me Too has changed things. I'm trying to find that, but I heard that was something that was allegedly said. I was trying to find it, so it's not there. Oh. Yeah, they did that with yeah, you write a letter and support the fans, they'll come at you because everybody is a victim. Everybody's upset over something. But like I said, guys, if you like my time, if you like me on here, please go ahead and donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, Zelle at the bottom. That's the only way I can keep doing this. Support me, support me. You know, YouTube demonetizes this channel, but they were going to demonetize me anyway when you start speaking the truth. That must mean I'm doing a good thing. So if you like what we've said, please contribute. But thank you. What's up, DeAndre, Danielle, CC? Thank y'all for tuning in. Computer robots. Thank y'all for being here. We're gonna wrap this thing up in a little bit. I wasn't planning to be long today, but shout out to you all who have joined me, been following me, ladies and gentlemen. We might be bringing back some more podcast action. I know Computer Robots talked about that, but if you're gonna do it, support. Listen in. It's not easy to do a podcast. It takes time, but yeah, that would be cool. So we're gonna wrap this up, man. The game, girls watching the game. I got the game on TV. The Broncos are playing the Raiders. Russell Wilson has been awful. It's all Sierra's fault. He plays worse. And this it gets any worse, he's gonna be a towel boy. They paid him millions of dollars for Denver to be a towel boy. God, he's throwing the balls in the ground. It's hitting people in the foot. Huh. Yeah, he got that other baby on the way, so he need this job. Because Sierra it's going to be, 5 kids total? Because I know she's got the boy from Future. Doesn't she have another? They have 3 kids. They have 2 kids already. So it's 4 kids. All right, 4. Oh, damn. Yeah, she's expecting another one, and I just saw this hit. Yeah, this Broncos player actually hit this Raiders player in the head with his elbow right to the neck. The guy is not moving. Wow. All right. Yeah, they're about to call him on. Looks like everybody's coming on the field. They're taking their helmets off. All right, y'all. So have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to wrap this up. We'll be back later this week. Y'all be safe, be blessed. I'll holla. Be one, be safe, be blessed, be black. I'll holla. Peace.